Hello everyone and welcome to a new video of Firepower Threat Defense series. In this video, we are going to explore security intelligence part of access control policy and we are going to look at network and URL based blocking. So let's jump on to the FMC. This is our access control policy. I'm going to edit it. Here, first thing I would do is I want to change the layout. It should pop me up to change the layout. Yes. I want to go to a new layout. The reason for that being so you can see in what order policies are evaluated when a packet hits the FTD box. So first pre-filter, then SSL, then security intelligence, then identity, then access control. Okay. So in this video, we are going to focus on security intelligence and we are going to look at network and URL block list. Before we can look into this option, first we need to see where to create these lists so we can use them here. In order to create those lists, you have to go to object management. Under object management, you have a separate section known as security intelligence. In this video, we are going to look at network lists and feeds and URL lists and feeds. So let's look at network lists and feeds. So what's really a feed? A feed is when you have the content of that feed is located on an external URL and it is regularly fetched by the FMC. Okay. A list is when you created it manually and uploaded it to the FMC. So let's create a feed and let's create a list. So add network list and feed. Let's give it a name. I would say malicious feed. Okay. It's a feed. Feed URL. I'm gonna use the EDL, Palo Alto hosted EDL for the Zoom, and we'll call it just the malicious, feed. So whatever IPs are mentioned on this list will be fetched up by the FMC. MD5 URL is optional. I'm gonna just keep the update frequency to every 2 hours, or I can say every 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes, fetch the latest content of this feed and save it. That's how you create a network feed. Okay. So whenever the content is updated on this list, it will also be updated in this feed on the FMC every 30 minutes. Now let's create a list. Click on the same button here, add network list and feeds. Let's say malicious underscore list. From the drop down, select the list. And when you have a list, it asks you an option to upload. Okay, let's browse. I have already created a IP list and I'll say open. And when I click on upload, it will also show me how many values were there in the list. I'll show you a sample list as well. This one itself. I clicked on upload, uploaded, it detected two IP addresses and I need to just save. Now let me show you the IP.list. Okay, just 1 second. So here is the content of the file that I just uploaded to the FMC. Okay. So I have mentioned one value in each line. Okay. And if you mention it with /0, it gets skipped. Okay. So you can go from 1 and then further, I believe, to the 32. I have mentioned exact IPs in here. That's the value of my IP list. Okay. So we saw how to create a malicious feed and how to create a malicious list, basically to the network. Okay. Now let's create a URL list and a URL feed. The similar fashion, click here. Let's give it a name. Malicious, URL feed. Okay. I'm going to say feed. And feed URL is going to stay. I'm going to use again Palo Alto UDL, which is for Zoom. That's my malicious feed for URL. Okay, I'll say update frequency state 30 minutes and save. That's how you create a URL feed. Okay, now let's create a URL list. Let's name it Okay, it's a list. Let's upload the list. I have already created one with the name URL. I'll upload. You can refer for the syntax of the URLs to be mentioned. It does support the wildcards as well, but there are certain limitations. So you might want to always follow the right syntax so your list works. Okay, let me show you the list which I have created. That's the list. That's the only URL on my list. You see, codequiz.net. Okay, that's it. I'll just close it. Now we have created two lists. Sorry, one feed, one list, and we have also created one custom malicious feed and malicious list for the network, the other for the URL. And you see also we have Cisco intelligence feed that is getting downloaded from the Cisco. Okay. If you want to update these feeds and lists right now, you can click on update feeds button. In that case, it will fetch the feeds in the real time. Okay. And you see the last updated value just below the name. See, now we have created these feeds, and yeah, you cannot see what are the values in them. I'll show you where you can see the values in case of that, but not right now. Let's first go to the policy and see how to use them. I'll go back to access control policy, hit the edit button, security intelligence. Yes, this is a bit tricky thing. I'll tell you how does zones go along with this list. Okay. Right now, I already have some default block or do not block lists. Okay. Now, I want to block malicious feed. Okay. For any zone, add to block list. Malicious list for any zone, add to block list. Also, let's add malicious URL ones as well. So for URL ones, you have to select this option. I would say malicious. It should be okay for any zone, add to block. URL list for any zone, add to block. So I have blocked my created feeds for URL and network. Let me save the policy and push the changes. While the changes will get deployed, I'll explain you something that helps to understand the concept of these zones going along with these network and URLs. Just let me trigger the deployment first. Okay, now it will keep on happening in there. So the thing is, you see there are zones which are available on the FMC along with my any option, okay, in the policy. Now, any means all the zones. Suppose you have a FTD where none of the interface is part of a zone. In that case, you need to select any so that all the interfaces are covered. Suppose an FTD has 5 interfaces, none of them is part of a zone, then you need to select any zone and it will cover the traffic for all the interfaces. You do not have option to select a specific interface. Next thing, suppose out of those 5 interfaces, one interface is assigned a zone. Now what will happen? Now, if you have selected the any zone, only this security intelligence will only apply to that one interface which is part of a zone. Rest 4 gets out of it. That's the tricky thing. So whenever you are choosing a zone, any or either inside or outside, be mindful where you really want to block the traffic or do not block the traffic based on the settings in it. Okay. This security intelligence also have DNS protection option. Okay. So DNS protection has two parts. One is DNS policy that we can create on the FMC and call in it here. Other is umbrella DNS policy. Umbrella DNS policy is created on your umbrella tenant and it is fetched from there. Or basically, I would say, not it's not fetched from there. Basically, what happens? First, the DNS request is evaluated against your local DNS policy. If it allows, then it gets forwarded to umbrella DNS policy to be checked and evaluated against that policy as well. You see this arrow? First here, if allowed, then there. If it's blocked there, not here. In order to configure the integration with the umbrella DNS policy, you need to click on this gear shaped icon and then you reach to integration, other integrations, cloud services. Okay, in here. In here, you have to mention these values. The star, red star is compulsory. Org ID, network device key, network device secret, legacy network device token, and then in the advanced, you can say DNS script public key, management secret. DNS script is really when you want the connectivity between your FMC and umbrella to be encrypted to send the DNS request for the evaluation to umbrella. Let me go back to the policies. We will talk about this, but in the next video. But it is shown on the security intelligence page, and I wanted you guys to be aware that this part we I don't have an umbrella tenant, so I won't be able to show you the umbrella stuff, and it will always stay none in our lab. But we are gonna create a DNS policy. We are gonna apply that policy here. Right now, it's default that is applied. Okay, let me see the status of the deployment. Okay. It shows all devices are up to date. In order to check the logs for specifically a traffic is dropped by security intelligence or not, you have to go to analysis. Under connections, you have two options, events and security intelligence events. You can view these drops in the events as well as security intelligence events. Security intelligence events only contain the events that belong to security intelligence. But events also contain the connection events, but there will be something, there will be a distinguisher that you can see. Now let's jump onto our Linux machine. I'm going to grab it here. Okay, let me log in quickly. Okay, now let me power up the terminal. I am going to ping an IP address that was part of our IP list, which we created, network list basically. So let's ping 11, my bad, dot 11 dot 11 dot 11. Okay, pinged it. It is not working. Perfect. That's what I wanted. I'm expecting it to not work because I'm blocking it. 12, 12, 12, 12. It should also not work. See, doesn't work. Let's access port quiz and see if port quiz works. Come on. Okay, while it is opening up, I'll go to security intelligence events and see if any event has become available in there. Okay. And okay, it has come up. I'll just access outgoing port tester and see if I get something. Okay, that's fine. See, 10003. Just few seconds back, two requests came 1212. I blocked it, and it is part of malicious list IPs. That's why they were blocked by the security intelligence. Port quiz was also blocked. Let me fetch the latest logs by selecting the last 1 hour window and see if we see it blocked. I can also show you by accessing the Zoom IP or the Zoom URL, but that's fine. I'm just using the custom. See, URL block. That thing means it is blocked by the your security intelligence. You can see URL. Okay. You can also see similar logs in the analysis event section. And there the reason will be mentioned as IP block and URL block. See, URL block, that means it was a block by the SI. IP block, it also shows it's an action because of SR. So that was about the security intelligence in the access control policy. And thank you for your time in this video. In the next video, we will look at the DNS policy, and we also need to understand how the DNS lists and feeds work. So I'll see you in the next video for that. Till then, have a good day.